And the way in which we're hoping to do this is outlined in our mission, which is to create a network of students empowered to effect tangible social and political change in health on a local, national, and global level through education, advocacy, and community action. So these are the three pillars you would probably have heard of many times: education, advocacy, and action. And that also forms a really good part of our organizational structure, which is the next slide. So Students for Global Health started over 25 years ago. Next year we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary, which is really exciting. And it originally started when one UK member went along to IFMSA, which some of you might have heard of, which is the International Federation of Medical Students Associations. And they saw what an amazing organization that was and felt that, you know, the UK also has a lot to give and would really benefit from this. And that it was started, I think it was Sheffield, George's, and one of the university. Some of the trustees would probably know, feel free to write it in the comments. And it's really blossomed from there. We first became a charity in 2006, and now once again we're expanding further. And as you might remember from Spring General Assembly, we're again changing our charity structure to move with the times and make sure we're a sustainable organization, and we've got scope to grow a lot bigger. So the organizational structure, probably best to start with the branches. So this is where you sit. Each university has their own branch, which is registered with the local student union. The branches are split into 5 regions. So starting from the top, Scotland and Northern Ireland, we've got the Northern region, we've got the Midlands, the Southeast and the Southwest. And all of these branches do their own local activities. Sometimes they join up and have regional activities. I'm sure you all know exactly what you get up to, but again, it can be educational material. It's also a lot of action, and somebody will talk about that in a bit more detail. And then we move on to national. So the National Committee is here to guide the entire organization along to ensure that we enact much more longer term plans, longer term projects. And the National Committee is split up into 4 main groups. This again is just for ease of understanding. So there's a branches team, and this is headed by the Director of Branch Affairs, which is Muha this year, and next year it would be Oliver. With Muha, we've got the 5 regional coordinators who work to ensure all of the regions are working smoothly, and if there's any help you along with that. Then we've got the international team. The international team, like you might have guessed, works with our international organization and international counterparts, which is the IFMSA, attending international events like the IFMSA General Assemblies, sending delegates along to the World Health Assembly and giving our input as students, which is again really important. So that's the international team. They also do a lot of exchanges. So currently we're largely focused on clinical and research exchanges, but we're looking to expand that as well. So that's our international team. Then we've got our content team, which is formed of our training director. So they run all of the local training events, such as training new trainers, and Antonis will be telling you about that shortly as well. Followed by policy and advocacy director. So this is really building on what we really want to achieve as an organization, working with other partners and affiliates to really ensure we have some tangible action. They also work quite closely with the training director and the third person, which is the global health education director. So this is a person that supports branches with any global health education things, but also at a national level, if there's any educational asks that we need to do, they oversee that. And then we've got the logistics team. Like with any organization, you need to ensure that the organization keeps running. So we've got a finance director, underneath whom we've got a finance committee. We've got the secretary, and next year the secretary will be joined by an alumni director, which is really exciting. We've got the communications director, so ensuring all of our social media is up and running. And we've got me, the national director, just kind of putting everything together and ensuring things are working. And alongside this, overseeing all of this actually is the trustees. So the trustees ensure that we've got oversight of the charity and ensuring that we're sticking with any charity laws and just giving us advice and and any wisdom that we might need. And a lot of them are ex-students for Global Health members, so they really know how the organisation works, and they have the organisation's interests at heart. And of course, we've also got all of the members. So this is all of you guys. I think we've probably, I think we average about 100 members per branch. So thinking that we've got about 30 odd branches, that's a large number of you. And without you, the organisation would not be functioning. So thank you very much. So apart from these, this is Students for Global Health. Students for Global Health also works with affiliates. So under the branches team and national committee, we've got Kate, who works with our affiliates. She's our affiliates coordinator. And these are student-led national coordinated projects that focus on a specific area of health inequality, such as sexpression. My mind's gone blank. Kate will talk about all of the rest. And we've got lots of partners as well. So these are organizations such as SfGH, which is Tropical Health and Education Trust. And this year, for example, we did Universal Health Coverage Day at LSE with them. We ran a really amazing campaign. MedAct, whom I'm sure you've all heard of, they attend pretty much every single one of our conferences and help deliver workshops, provide speakers. And through a lot of these, we also engage with the government. So we engage with DFID, which I'm sure you've heard about the DFID and FCA merger, but we are able to input into any governmental changes that are happening. So that's the organisation. If you have any questions, please do send them along to the webinar, but hopefully as we now move on to all of the different sections, we will be able to answer some of those questions. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you, Harpreet. Hello, everyone. I'm Moha. I'm the Director of Branch Affairs. I'm part of the Branches team, so I'll be talking about what we do as part of Branches team. So within the NC, the Branches team consists of the DBA and regional coordinator, and we look after the 30 branches in the network. These branches are split into 5 regions, so that each region has a regional coordinator who acts as their first point of contact for local committees. Branches can contact regional coordinators about anything, whether it's logistics or running events. And if it's about something more specific, such as training or global health education, the RCs can put you in contact with our training director or the global health education director. So my role as the DBA, I oversee the team and help the RCs in supporting the branches. I'm also responsible for the development of branches and keeping you in the loop with what goes on in the network. And I do that by sending weekly emails, which generally include any tasks that branches might need to complete in terms of admin, opportunities members can get involved with, and general updates about the network. Usually I send these emails directly to branch via branch email, but recently we've realized that not all committee members have access to the branch emails for various reasons. So to rectify this and keep everyone in the committee in the loop, we will send out a form after the webinar where committee members can sign up to a local committee member mailing list. So in the future, we'll send emails to branch email as well as directly to committee members. In terms of finances, so at the beginning of every year, branches sign the branch affiliation agreement, which is an agreement between local branches and Students Global Health Network. I'll email you the PDF of it after the webinar as well. So every year, branches also pay branch affiliation fees, which is money that goes back to supporting branches. So branch affiliation fee is at the moment 5% of over £200 of the local branch account. So let's say a branch has £300, the fee would be 5% of £100, making the fee £5. So where does the branch affiliation fee money go? It goes to the branch development fund, which is a pot of money set aside for purely for branches that want to run projects that they wouldn't otherwise be able to. Or sometimes it's used to cover travel expenses to national conferences, which is quite useful for new or small branches that may not be able to send representatives to general assemblies, for example. So in terms of application process for Branches Development Fund, branches can apply for it once a month, and then myself, National Director and Finance Director, review it. So the money also goes towards the Freshers Pack. So every year we send out physical Freshers Packs to branches, and it generally gets sent out to the branch president or the vice president around August time, in time for Freshers. And branches do have input on the contents of the Freshers Pack, so keep an eye out on any emails regarding that in the future. If you are also interested in joining the team that designs and organizes the Freshers Pack, just let me know. So moving on to conferences. So I'll leave the next slide. Thank you. So each year we run 4 conferences, 2 per semester, and these are hosted by local branches with the support of the National Committee. They are 2-day conferences, so Saturday and Sunday, and 2 out of 4 of those conferences, we run general assemblies in parallel with the other sessions. So using this year as an example, we kicked off the year with Autumn Weekend, which was held in Leeds. Autumn Weekend is one of our general assemblies where we, the NC and local branches and affiliates, vote on motions that branches, NC or affiliates submit, including voting in new branches. And as conferences, we are open to everyone. So we also ensure there are other sessions running in parallel with the General Assembly so that members get most out of the conference. Autumn Weekend is then followed up by National Conference, and this year hosted by UEA. And that was in the second semester. And we also have a Global Health Conference, and this year it was on access to health, hosted by BARTS. We then wrapped up the year with Spring General Assembly. This year, Plymouth prepared a great conference on the topic of displacement. Obviously, due to COVID, we had to move the voting aspect of the GA online. And depending on how things go regarding social distancing, Plymouth may host Autumn Weekend later on this year instead. So locally, we do many things. So I'll let Izzy talk about it. So that's the next slide. Thank you.
Hi, regional coordinator. So I have the really exciting job of saying what everyone's been up to this year. And I think it's fair to say that we've kind of smashed it this year in terms of tackling our aim to tackle health inequalities through education, advocacy and community action. It's great because of the events form that's been sent out this year. We've been able to get an overview of what everyone's been up to. So I've just written a brief list of some of the types of events that have happened. In terms of education, branches have tackled a variety of topics from climate change to poverty to outbreak management. And they've done this in loads of different ways through lectures, such as you can see Keele University event in the bottom left of the screen, seminars, workshops and training sessions. Lots of branches have also taken part in the global health short courses, which have been really, really successful. Elective and intercalation evenings have happened at Keele, Glasgow and Sheffield, and also public health careers events as well happening at Brighton and Imperial, and loads more that haven't really been mentioned. Many branches have also taken part in campaigns, kind of using social media, writing to local MPs, striking, such as the climate change strikes that happened earlier in the year. You can see at the bottom right of the screen, and the Black Lives Matter movement as well. And also loads of ways in fundraising, as I've listed there, which is really exciting. And members have also made it their mission to support local charities and thought of loads of inventive ways to raise money. Aberdeen even organising a silent disco, which sounds pretty epic. Both BARTS and UEA also won Event of the Year at their respective universities for the national conferences, which were incredible. So congratulations to both of those. And BARTS also won Society of the Year overall. So a little shout out to them because that's amazing. So yeah, overall, it's been like a really successful year. I'm really excited to see what everyone gets up to next year. Hopefully we will collate a list of all the events that different branches have got up to, so people can get new ideas for the coming year as well. I think we're going on to international opportunities now, or sorry, affiliates.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate, I'm the affiliates coordinator. I just wanted to take 2 minutes to introduce to you who the affiliates are. So as you can see, these are our 9 affiliates that we have at SfGH. They're all independent organisations that focus on specific global health inequalities. So whereby at SfGH, we look at multiple global health issues, they each try and tackle independent inequalities. They range from different sizes. Some are very small, others are like UAM or SfGH are large organisations that have branches all over the country like us. And the way we work with them can be on a local level, whereby branch members, like a lot of yourselves, will contact their local affiliate branches and try and organise campaigns and events with them, or on a more national level, whereby we work with some of their national campaigns, which we've done with UAM and Incision and certain groups this year. If you want to find out more, we've updated our website, so there's information on who each of the affiliates are, what they do, and how you can get involved and contact them, or speak to me until the end of this academic year, or the lovely Beth, who's coming in, will be our new affiliates coordinator. But yeah, all the information's on the website if you want to see any more about that.
Hello all, my name is Oliver, and I just wanted to really quickly introduce the next branches team for the next academic year, who you guys will all be in contact with. So to start off with, my name is Oliver. I am going to be the next Director of Branch Affairs, so the next Muha. So I've got very big shoes to fill. And in terms of the regional coordinators, you've got Marjorie, who's the Scotland and Northern Ireland coordinator. You've got Cecilia, who's up in the north. You've got Yusra, she's in the Midlands, and you've got Shahia, who's southeast, and Zoya, who is southwest. So we will be working closely with all the branches in the next academic year. And what I want to say is the regional coordinators will most likely be getting in contact with the branch presidents and the rest of the committee, probably at the end of the summer or at the very beginning of the next academic year in September. And that will just be a way of them introducing themselves to you, getting to know all the committee, and just kind of starting to build a rapport quite early on. So yeah, just to encourage kind of what Muhara said, these people will be your kind of port of call for the next year. If you've got any issues or problems or questions, these regional coordinators are the people you can go to. And as you'll see through the rest of this kind of presentation, you'll see kind of loads of different ways in which, as a national committee, we can potentially help the local branches, and these regional coordinators can be kind of your first port of call for that. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Chaitra. I'm currently the National Exchange Officer for incoming students and incoming National Director, so I'll be doing Harpreet's role next year. So I'm really glad to see there's quite a few people who are international liaison officers in the chat as well, and exchange officers. So it would be great just to speak a bit about this. So as Students for Global Health, we are we have this opportunity to be part of something called the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, or the IFMSA. And it's a worldwide representative body for medical students. So it has 133 national member organizations, which cover 123 countries. So basically, there's lots of Students for Global Health all around the world, and they all come together to form this global representative body. And if we go on to the next slide. So there are quite a lot of international opportunities that are available to all the Students for Global Health members. We've created the new role of international liaison officers so that we can actually get all of these opportunities out, because we have so many that it's difficult to get it to everybody just through the emails that we send. And also there are exchange officers who have a bigger role in facilitating the exchanges that Harpreet talked about earlier. So in terms of international opportunities, the Director of International Affairs, who is Hamza this year, and Anu in the next year, is who will be the one organizing all of these. So we send, usually there's a meeting for IFMSA in March and in August, where medical students across the world sort of gather in one country and have 6 days of training and capacity building, and also, well, a lot of interaction. And these happen in March and in August. And there's also regional ones, so a European one or an Asia Pacific one or Africa one, for example. The August one has been cancelled because of COVID, and it's happening online. So it's going to be interesting to see how, when 1,000 medical students used to gather in person, will now be done online. We also have opportunities such as attending, sending delegations to the United Nations, various meetings, World Health Organization internships, the World Health Assembly. We also have the opportunity to be with like the World Medical Association, World Education, etc., with IFMSA. There is also something called the International Training New Trainers. So we do a lot of capacity building for students, and through IFMSA you can attend TNTs within the UK, but you can also go abroad to do TNTs as well. And finally, we have something called exchanges, which we'll talk about in more detail in the next slide. So through IFMSA, there's lots of different things that they focus on. So there's public health, they focus on human rights and peace. They also focus on sexual health and reproductive health, and they also look at medical education. The two main things that we focus on within the international side is something called professional exchange and research exchange. So the professional exchange is an opportunity to have 4-week clinical internship, so clinical placement in any country that you would like to go to. And someone from that country will be able to do an internship here in the UK. And it's a very equitable model, so that the person who's coming here isn't paying extortionate amounts compared to how much we may have paid to go there. So that inequity that was there before in usual placements are removed. We also have the research exchange, where it's an opportunity for you to do research abroad for 4 weeks. And you have your own supervisor and tutor, whichever country you end up in. Currently, there's 105 countries who are doing the clinical placement exchanges and 74 countries who are doing research exchanges. And nearly, at the last year, around 17,000 medical students took part in these exchanges. So it's quite big, and it's the biggest medical student exchange program in the world right now. If you want to know a lot more and keep in touch with all the international stuff, please join the Students for Global Health International Facebook page, the Students for Global Health Exchanges Facebook page, join the IFMSA Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything, all social media accounts, and also the exchange officers and liaison officers. There'll be more. We'll be in touch with you in the next year to sort of tell you about everything that's happening in more detail, so that you can let your members know in your own universities about all these opportunities. I think we'll move to training now.
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks, Chaitra. My name's Antonis. I'm the training director of the network. And before I talk about training, I want you to all take a look at this video we created this year. I'm not sure who can press play.
I'll press play, but could everyone please mute their microphones just so we don't get any feedback? Thank you.
So training in the context of IFMSA and Students for Global Health is a way of capacity building and peer educating.
So what training essentially is, it's you learn to run workshops. So it's building on your soft skills, whether this is how to deal with conflict management, how to actually plan a workshop, and you use this to put it into effect when you want to run workshops on very specific things.
Training is an amazing opportunity to go outside the UK, meet fellow trainers all over the world, train with people, train other people, and inspire and be inspired.
Training is one of the most fun experiences in the IFMSA. You just get such an inspiring audience.
Training is so fun because you get to meet so many different people from different areas in the world and in the country with loads of different experiences, and you get to learn from other people because you kind of facilitate discussions, so it's really fun.
Through this, what you've picked up from various topics, you can then pass on, and that's the next step in whatever you want to do. So whether that's within specifically global health, whether that's within whatever course you're doing at university, whether that's medicine or whether that's development, you can take that further. So it gives you confidence that you need across various aspects of your life.
There's thousands of opportunities training-wise. that people can get involved with across the world and also in the UK. Nationally, we have the training your trainers, the regional training weekends, also training at the conferences where people can be trainers or people can be participants and gain all the knowledge they need and use it then to influence their local communities. Internationally, you get to travel, meet people from across the world and train with them in 4 or 5 day training workshops, which is just an amazing experience, really.
The first step for getting involved in training is to join a Training New Trainers event. So Training New Trainers, as it spells out, is you learn how to become a trainer yourself. And this is where you learn all of these skills that help you put on training sessions.
So it's a really intense weekend where you get to do like a lot of self-development activities as well. So you learn a lot about yourself, kind of about your personality and how you interact with the team as well, which I think is really important.
Lots of people who've been to TNT say it's one of the best weekends of their life and they make lifelong friendships. So I would really recommend going.
Cool. I hope that this video excites you as much as it does for myself. And thanks for watching it. And I hope I'll get loads of emails from you after this webinar, asking questions about training. So just to reiterate, training is trying to spark the interest and engage the members and drive action within our community. Can we go to the next slide? And yes, so training is about sharing information about advocating for non-communicable diseases or HIV and AIDS, or it could be about how to set up campaigns on disaster medicine and epidemics. But it also means sharing among us members skills such as public speaking, communication skills, conflict resolution, project management, toolkits and skills, and also leadership skills. Of course, to be able to share all this information, we have our own members who become trainers through the Training New Trainers workshop, which the video talked about. And as we mentioned, as this slide says, you can host training locally at your branch for your committee or your members. You can do it regionally, which is the regional training weekend, or nationally at the conferences that Moha talked about, but also internationally, which Chaitra talked about, where they can actually, if you're a trainer, they can also pay for your travel expenses to go and deliver training. Next slide, please. And yes, just to sum up, the most important thing from this slide is to get in touch with me on training at studentsforglobalhealth.org. If you're interested to become a trainer, we have the new Training New Trainers workshop coming up in mid-November usually. Or if you're interested to host a training event at your branch, then again, give me a shout and I can help you with that on any topic that you want. It doesn't need to be from the list that we provide, it can be on anything. And the last most important thing is that we're still looking for hosts for the Training New Trainers workshop, which is an international event. It's for about 15 people that come from around the world and mainly the UK. And we're looking for branches to help us deliver that event for our members and get our new trainers to join the network. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, my name's Sophie. I'm this year's Scotland Northern Ireland Regional Coordinator. I hope that you can hear me and see me. My internet isn't great at the moment, but I'm giving you a broad sort of overview of our policy and advocacy action that we do in our network. So policies, they represent the stance or the position of Students for Global Health on key global health topics, and our policies aim to officially recognise the collective beliefs of Students for Global Health, outline our recommendations for action and how we intend to contribute or achieve our policy aims. Now, there are about 20 different policies that you can find on our website. Please check them out. But we also write international policies for the IFMSA. Now, anyone can write and propose a policy, It's a really great way to gain valuable experience in writing global health documents, and they are voted in our General Assemblies, and when they're adopted, they're valid for 3 years. Now, advocacy represents how we put our policies into action and how we show our support for the causes the Students for Global Health Network cares about. Now, Lopa, our current Policy and Advocacy Director, she started our movement this year to celebrate 10 International UN Days nationally, and hopefully we'll see this going forward in the next year to come. Some examples include World Health Day, AIDS and HIV Day, and hopefully you've seen a few of these on our social media. Our coordinated theme is voted on every Spring General Assembly, and coordinated themes, they are a way to coordinate our education, advocacy and action efforts across the network around an issue central to our vision. They are proposed by any Students for Global Health member, that's you, and to bring any issue that you really care about to the centre of our work. So really get thinking for next year. Our current theme is climate change and health, but past themes have been homelessness and health, the students' development goals, but more to come. I hope that's sort of a brief overview of our policy and advocacy action, and really it's our bread and butter as well of what we do as a network. That's all from me.
So moving swiftly on to Global Health Education Director. So like with any organisation and any topic, in order to have some action, you need to make sure you've got a solid understanding of what happens. So this is what the Global Health Education Director oversees. So they support local branches with global health short courses. They also support mainstreaming of global health education in medical schools. The entire focus isn't always on medical schools, but this is quite important, we felt. Sharing of resources, opportunities, and projects for any extracurricular global health education. So things like webinar opportunities or any other events that have been happening. And more recently, starting from this year, we've restarted the Global Health Education in Schools coordinator role and the project. So this is a project that was originally set up in around 2013 as a pilot scheme. It worked, but this year we're sort of hoping to increase capacity and really have a few streams that we'll be able to engage in schools with and teach students about global health from a much younger age rather than waiting for people to learn about this in university. So how can people get involved? So one thing is every role within the National Committee usually tends to put out a call for an operational team. This is a team working with a position, whether it's the Global Health Education Director or the Training Director, to support them in any projects that need a bit more capacity. So next year, this will likely be advertised around November-ish time, but do keep an eye out for that. The other thing is Maureen is our Global Health Education in Schools coordinator, and she'll likely be asking branches to sign up to be a pilot branch to help start the Global Health Education in Schools project slowly rather than just trying to mainstream it across all of them. And the second thing would be to help write the module content, because with this project, you really do need to ensure the content is there, the structure is there, and there's some, the same thing gets taught in all of the different schools. There's no differences. The other thing is we've signed a memorandum of understanding, which is just an agreement with Global Health Now from Johns Hopkins, and they have an email newsletter out. Again, over next year, you will start seeing calls for any suggestions for what you might want to write. We'll pass that on to Global Health Now. And then they'll say yes or no, or maybe how you can change it, and then you'll be able to publish into this newsletter. And apart from that, this is a network up organization. So if you have any projects, if you have any ideas, do email us, where we want to hear from you, want to hear what you're up to. So please do let us know, and then we can move forward and see what we can achieve as an organization. Thank you.
Fab, thanks guys. So this is kind of towards the end of our stuff from National Committee. So we thought after kind of giving you all that information that we would end on a what next? What can you do following on from this kind of webinar over summer and to start off with the academic year? So to start off with, the first opportunity that you would hopefully have been emailed about is the Race and Health National Working Group. So national working groups are basically groups of members that come together and they kind of work on campaigns or themes for across a space of a year. So this one was in response to the Black Lives Matter movement. So to ensure that Students for Global Health UK has quite a sustainable approach to its kind of its action going forwards. So the deadline to apply to be in the Race and Health National Working Group is this evening, so midnight tonight. So if you haven't and you'd like to check out your emails or give us a message or send in this email and we can send out that link to the application form. Next is for conference hosts. So as Mohammed mentioned, Plymouth, because of COVID, are now hosting the autumn weekend in probably October, and UCLan, I believe, are hosting the national conference towards the end of this year, which means that we've got 2 conference spaces open for grabs from you guys. So the Global Health Conference, which will be after Christmas, and the SGA, which will be towards the end of the academic year, probably April or May. So if you kind of got any ideas of themes that you want to do, or you've got a really kind of energetic committee for next year and you think that you guys can you guys can run a committee, then get in touch with your kind of regional coordinators or anyone on the national committee and we can give you some advice as to kind of the next steps. Training new trainers course hosts, the TNTs. So as Anthony mentioned, we'd use some branches to host the TNTs. The advantage of it is that if you do apply and you get in, it means you don't have to travel anywhere to go. So top tip with their team. Also, we've got some international events. So URegMe is happening in Vilnius in Lithuania at the end of September and beginning of October, which was postponed, I think, from April because of COVID. We just wanted to say that although it is called the IFMSA, the International Federation of Medical Students Association, IFMSA is open to all students, just like SfGH is open to all kind of medics, non-healthcare, everyone. So even if you're watching this and you think you'd love to do an international conference and you don't study medicine, that is absolutely fine. We encourage everyone to kind of get in contact, and if you've got any messages and apply for that. I think the application is the end of this weekend. And the Freshers Pack team. So we're creating a Freshers Pack at the moment. So if any of you are great with some visuals or really artistic and creative, contact, because we're trying to make some kind of stickers and things like that to include in your Freshers Packs for the next year. So those are the opportunities. We've got a campaign happening that hopefully you've been emailed about, which is called the #SaveAid campaign, which is about the merger of DFID and the FCO. So we've created some kind of visuals, some social media posts and Instagram posts and Facebook stuff. So if you could share that on your socials, that would be really, really incredible to kind of get quite a big momentum with that campaign. Finally, in terms of our website, we have branches pages on the website, albeit some of them are quite out of date. So the regional coordinators are working at the moment to try and update that, but you guys can easily do that. So if you know what you're planning to do this year, if you've got committee photos, anything like that, get in contact and we can kind of change and edit your branch page. So when people go and visit, that's what they see. And also we've got loads and loads of resources on the hub online. So if you go to the Students for Global Health website and click the hub, which is the top right-hand corner, that will have loads of information about how to run short courses and just loads of different things like that. So if you're kind of stuck, check out the hub and that might give you some ideas of what to do. So thank you so much. So we've included throughout the presentation a link to a Q&A document. So I think what we're going to do is going to run through some of the questions and hopefully provide some answers. But thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for putting those questions in. Please feel free to keep on putting questions in as they come in, and we'll be answering as well. We'll put the answers as well on the same document, so you can go back and if you forget, you can always just go back onto the document and see the answers there as well. Let's start with some international questions. One question is, are the IFMSA exchanges likely to be going ahead next year, given the travel restrictions that are happening right now across the globe? Maybe Chaitra can respond to that, or anyone else from the international team?
So in terms of the exchanges, yes, it will be going ahead unless we have another peak or something. And again, there is travel restrictions. So basically right now, exchanges have started up in all countries where travel restrictions have been taken away from. So basically some European countries have started it up again, and you can technically also go to China right now on exchange. So it has started up again and people are trying to still go. So yes, the answer is yes, it will go ahead, depending on what the world is like. But we're hoping that the whole COVID pandemic stops, doesn't reciprocate, doesn't happen again in the next few months, so that we can start again for next summer.
Thanks. And can you quickly sort of reiterate the best places to see all the information on the international side? Where can we access the information on that? And I think you've written out already sort of the role description of the liaison officer, but for anyone else out there, maybe a brief sort of description of what an officer is.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sophie. So for the liaison officer's role is to really let everyone know about the different international opportunities that there are available. So there is obviously writing policies, like we've already said. There's also opportunities to go and do training abroad as a trainer yourself, and also to be trained by others. And this training is not limited to just about soft skills, but there's also training on human rights and peace, public health leadership, sexual health and reproductive rights. So there's lots of different types of training that happen across the world that are quite useful, that people would love to go to, and also we can host them here. And moreover, it's also a chance for you to try and set up the exchange programs in your own universities. So those are the main roles of an international liaison officer. In terms of where to follow, I started putting some on there, but the first and best place to follow is obviously the Students for Global Health page, because the big things that will come out will be on there. Secondly is the Students for Global Health International Facebook group. So there's a lot more opportunities that come up here, which will not be there on the main page. And there will also be some mailing lists that are from the IFMSA itself that would be quite good to follow. For that, we will put that up in the document.
Thank you, Chaitra. Moving on to training, Antonise, so who can attend training events? Is it for everyone? Does it cost a fee? And are there any applications for it to get into them?
Yeah, so I was just writing the answer to that question, but what essentially is training, anyone can be a participant at a training event, as Chaitra said. So if you're interested in any topic and you see a training on anything, you can be a participant and you have others training you. In order to become a trainer, where you're the one delivering the content, whatever that content is, you have to start from a training new trainers workshop first, which is essentially giving you the teaching skills and methodologies that you can use in non-formal education style to deliver all that information and knowledge you have. So you become the trainer through that TNT. And once you complete the training new trainers workshop, you can then apply to be a trainer in various other events around the world that are accredited by the IFMSA. Training new trainers is essentially giving you a certificate that says that the IFMSA, the International Network, is basically accrediting you that you have completed the workshop and that you are an accredited trainer and credible trainer to deliver training. In terms of costs, to participate in our national training new trainers workshop, that is the TNT that's usually happening in mid-November, exception last year, it costs to participate in about £45, which covers accommodation for 3 full days, food and coffee breaks for 3 full days, and also any logistics any logistical costs that needs to like pay for in order to be able to host the event. So that's your cost as a participant. Now, if you're a branch and you want to host a TNT, so you want to be the organizer to provide the space, that usually comes at no cost at all, because depending on how you organize it, the money comes from the participation fees. I'm not sure if I answered all the questions.
Another question for you. When are so I think you answered that the training weekends are, so the TNT is usually mid-November, then all other training events tend to happen over the year during conferences like that. But how do you find out about them?
Yes, so the training that happens during conferences, we don't usually put out a single advertisement on its own, because it's a conference culture in a way, that you go to a conference and you'll get workshops and training there as well. When it comes to regional training weekends that happen around the year, and also the Training New Trainers workshops, or any other workshops that we decide or manage to organize throughout the year, we put out as advertisements on the Facebook pages and the website, which is under construction for this year. So the most reliable place to find information about training is the official Students for Global Health UK, formerly Medicine, Facebook page. Now, if you're a trainer, you should have joined the Students for Global Health Trainers Forum page, and that's only for UK trainers. We give that information out after the Training New Trainers workshop, basically, and that's where we advertise for international events, for people who are interested to be trainers, to go deliver training there. Was that clear? Sorry, I was fumbling around.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm sure if there are more questions, they'll be on the document, but I think you've answered quite a few things there. Just moving on to sort of global health education, but actually it's a few questions about different things. One of them is, how do we apply to the national working groups? And maybe a question could be sort of, how do you make, or, you know, how do you get involved and to make one? Not sure who could answer that, either Harpreet or Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, if Oliver, you want to come in, feel free to. National working groups, there's a link that's been sent out that you can apply to. If you want that link and you can't find it on any of our social media, it's definitely there. Just drop any of the pages a message and we will get back to you. More broadly, creating a national working group, if you're really interested in a specific area of global health and you want to create a project or do something a little bit longer term, that's what a national working group is really for. If you want to do that, you drop a message to the Global Health Education Director or the Policy and Advocacy Director, and you say, hey, I've got this idea, can we put this forward? And then at a General Assembly, you present your idea, you present who's going to be sort of co-chairing this national working group with you. You can put out a call if you'd like to have many other members. It entirely depends on what your project aims to be and what you really want the group to look like. So it's quite flexible, so that it suits your project the best. The race and health one, the deadline is tonight. So if you're interested in that, please do get in touch. There's already a small list of project suggestions just to help guide the group, because we understand that, you know, everyone was really interested and wanted to get this moving as fast as possible. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Another really good question is, what are global health short courses?
That's very true. I apologize for not clarifying that. So global health short courses happen at branches. So most branches have educational events, whether there's lecture series, discussion groups, or whatever. And what a lot of universities do to increase attendance, increase engagement, is put these together, link them up, maybe have a theme running across them, and title it Global Health Short Courses. A series of global health related educational events that you put together, and then quite a lot of people at the end of the short course say, hey, if you've attended 6 out of 6, you get a gold certificate. If you've attended 5 out of 6, you get a silver one. And that increases engagement because people get a certificate of attendance. And that's great. But also it's a title you can say we've done this global health short course. There's a lot of toolkits that we've got made to help assist you create these. So again, if this is something you haven't done before, or you'd like a little bit more, you'd like a few more ideas, drop Global Health Education Director an email, or drop your RCs a message as well. They also have all of this information, and they can get that to you.
Thank you, Harpreet. We have a few questions on conferences. Now, if branches decide to host a conference, what kind of support can they get from Students for Global Health? I thought Muha could maybe answer that.
Yeah, sure. So I'll answer the second one, which is about how it differs from the General Assemblies. So all the 4 national conferences are, in terms of organising it from branches' perspective, it's the same, despite 2 of them including the General Assembly. The only difference is we just need a extra room that needs to be booked out for the voting sessions to happen. And as the NC, the agenda committee, there's an agenda committee that will organise the General Assembly side of things. So when it comes to the responsibility for the branches, all 4 will be the same, apart from just booking the extra space for the voting sessions. And Harpreet has been working with the main conferences this year, for the 4 of them, so I think she'll be able to talk a little bit more about the extent of support that we can provide.
Fab, thank you, Muha. So with supporting, there's I think Oliver, Antonis, myself, and quite a few other people, including Sophie, we're creating a massive conference pack to help guide you through it. There's support before, during, and after. So we really want this to be as easy for you. Whatever help you need, we largely give it to you. It's not a spoon feeding type thing. It's much more letting you know that these are the resources we can give to you to help ensure you can learn throughout this process, because putting on a national conference is a wonderful achievement. So before, we can help, the regional coordinators often help have a look over any proposal that you might want to submit. There's a guide on how to create a proposal. We can send you over previous proposals from previous years. And if you have any specific questions, you can direct them to anybody. During the conference, during the preparation of the conference, again, there's lots and lots of support. So there's usually one main national committee contact person with whom you have meetings every 2 weeks. If you want a specific, a role-specific help, for example, if you want help in creating a budget, you've got the finance director for that. If you want help with getting things out on social media, the communications director will help you with that. So it really depends on what support you need. But again, usually it's every meeting every 2 weeks initially, and in the last lead up, the last month, you end up having a meeting every week. And again, there's lots of sample budgets, there's lots of sample documents to help guide you through the process, to kind of connect you up with any speakers if you want ideas. So I would hope so, that the branches who have done this, maybe Bart's want to comment as well, that it usually is a very supportive environment. And then post-conference, to help writing the report as well, there's lots of support with that as well.
Thank you very much, Happy and Muha, for answering those questions. And I can totally agree. Hosting a conference is a brilliant way as well to get your branch involved and really excited. And for me, it was the way that I got introduced into Students for Global Health, and I'm sure many others on the chat will say the same. There's a quick question on this year's coordinated theme. When is this year's theme decided? Will the coordinated theme of climate change continue into next year? Not sure who can answer that. I'm not sure who can answer that, but I think right now the decision is we are going to post. There's going to be a post out very soon for applications for next year's theme. So this last year has been climate change and health. So a post will come out very soon to apply for next year's theme. I think that's the answer.
Yeah, sorry, that's the answer. I was writing in the chat box. So yeah, I will prepare an application form by the end of this month. So we'll suggest, you guys can suggest the topics that you want to do for the next year, and then we'll collate those topics and send out a form where you can vote.
I think one final interesting question is, are you able to provide a list of contacts, some suggestions of global health speakers that can be used in branch global health short courses?
Can I, it's not going to come in. I was just going to say, for that, it really depends. I think there are sometimes local or regional lists, but the reason why we've hesitated from having a national database, aside from GDPR issues, is that travel costs can add up. So for example, there's speakers in the Scotland region, speakers from the London region usually won't travel up for a global health short course, whereas if it's for a conference, it's likely to be a bit different. So local universities sometimes write a list of which speakers they've attended previously, what the engagement was, and what students really liked. I would strongly suggest looking to your own universities and local charities and organizations. But I think looking ahead into the future, we're looking to, this was discussed at Autumn Weekend, we're looking to create a sort of advisory committee in specific topics. And this year we'll have a consultation process on, you know, really how would you, as an organization, like this advisory committee to form? Would we like it in specific roles or in specific topic areas? And perhaps that would help form a list of speakers. Maybe somebody else would also like to come in if you're aware of a list that exists anywhere. As far as I'm aware, we don't have a centrally created list, exactly for the reasons I've said.
Thank you for responding to that, and thank you all for your questions. Please continue to put questions that come into your head any day. We'll be answering them as well on that document, but I think we'll end it there.